In the winter of 2012, a man named David moved into a small, old apartment in Chicago. He was excited to live on his own for the first time. The rent was cheap, the building quiet, and the neighbors, well, he didn't know them yet. At first, everything seemed normal. The apartment had peeling wallpaper, a creaky floor, and an old radiator that clanged at night, but nothing alarming. The first oddity happened the night he unpacked. While arranging his books on a shelf, David felt a cold breeze pass through the room, even though all the windows and doors were closed. He shrugged it off as the building's old draft. But then came the whispers. They were faint at first, almost like the hum of a distant radio saying things he couldn't understand. Just the wind, he told himself. Within a week, the incidents escalated. Every night he would hear footsteps above him. Not the usual creaks of an old building. These were deliberate, heavy steps, packing back and forth, stopping abruptly as if someone were watching him. Sometimes he would wake to find objects moved. Books on the floor, cups knocked over, even the furniture slightly shifted. Nothing was ever broken, but it was enough to make him feel uneasy. Then David began seeing shadows. At first they were subtle, dark patches in the corner of his vision, but soon he noticed them clearly, humanoid shapes moving just beyond the edge of light. One night while lying in bed, he saw a shadow standing over him. He froze, staring, too terrified to move. It didn't have a face, just an outline, a form that resembled a man but radiated wrongness. The breaking point came one evening when he was cooking. The lights flickered and the whispers became coherent. He could hear a voice, low and raspy, calling his name. "David, come join us." Panicked, he dropped the pan, spilling hot oil onto the floor. When he looked up, the shadow was at the doorway. It moved unnaturally fast, gliding toward him, and he ran, heart hammering, into his bedroom. The door slammed shut behind him on its own. For the next several nights, sleep became impossible. David would hear scratching at the walls, soft at first, then violent, like claws tearing through plaster. The shadows multiplied. Sometimes he would wake to find one sitting at the foot of his bed, watching him. One morning he found deep scratches on his arm that he swore weren't there the night before. In desperation, he reached out to a paranormal investigator, who brought equipment to record the apartment. When they played back the audio, the investigators were horrified. The whispers were chanting in multiple languages, some he didn't recognize, some Latin phrases invoking death and servitude. One investigator reported seeing a shadow move independently on the camera feed, separating from the others and approaching the lens as if aware of being observed. David tried to leave. He sold his furniture, packed his things, and never looked back. But the landlord claimed he had never rented that apartment to anyone named David. The paperwork he had signed vanished. Even more disturbing, neighbors reported seeing lights flicker in the abandoned apartment at night as if someone, or something, still lived there. Years later, David still suffers from night terrors. Sometimes when he closes his eyes, he sees the faceless figure standing over him, whispering his name. The most terrifying part, in some of his dreams he can feel its hand on his shoulder, heavy, cold, and insistent. David is now convinced. Whatever haunted that apartment wasn't human, and it didn't let go easily. The apartment building is still standing. Units are rented out and neighbors occasionally report strange noises, unexplained shadows, and whispers that seem to come from the walls themselves. Those who enter the building after dark sometimes feel a presence watching them, something patient, waiting, and hungry.